The art of D&D creates a framework for the imagination. It has been such a giant part of my childhood. It allowed me to imagine greater worlds and giant monsters and amazing adventures. And it has had such impact on so many people and on pop culture. And now there is a book that really shows you the evolution of the art of D&D.
I grew up, with older brothers that played Dungeons and Dragons, but I was always the Elliot in the family where I wasn't allowed to play, and the older brothers were playing, and I was kind of kept out, so I would flip through the books, and I fell in love with the art. And that's how I learned to draw. And then I started playing myself, and I, played throughout my childhood and teenage years, but I didn't play for a long time. And I started playing 5th edition, and I started looking for, where's the history book? Where's the book about Dungeons and Dragons, beyond the Dragonlance book or the Art of Dragon magazine? Where's the definitive book?
These paintings told you so much about what was happening, even with no information. Unearthed Arcana, here's a wizard that's got this book that's illuminating this light, this unspeakable knowledge upon his face, while he's surrounded by all of these beakers and creatures and elements. It's such an immersive scene out of the mind of Jeff Easley. And I'll just never forget doing that. It was really my first understanding of this world, I think, in a really different way.
It's functional in the earliest editions because it lets you know how the mechanics would work, what you could do, what a thief could do, or what the game was really about. Because so much of it is text, but you anchor it with these key pieces of art that kind of highlighted mechanics, or at least let you visualize something fantastic, so then you could go off and tell stories about it. And you need those art pieces to kind of underpin it all, so as the DM and the collaborative storytelling can happen, so people can all have that idea in their head, and they can go tell new stories about that creature or that character or what this world looks like.
Dave Trampier, Player's Handbook cover. It's a very instructional piece of art. It sort of teaches you what D&D is. I mean, you're in a dungeon. There's this giant idol, so you're definitely up against some serious evil, right? You're like, oh, the odds are against us. Flying in the face of all this evil are a couple of grubby dudes who are prying a jewel out of its eye, which I think is kind of hilarious considering that level of evil, and these guys are not taking it terribly seriously. Then there's other people in the painting who are planning, poring over maps, taking it more seriously. There's wounded people. There's also people that are looting this underground cavern. They clearly have had a fight with lizard men or something. It suggests what you're supposed to be doing.
I think no one has ever tried to take the story of the brand from its inception up to the present time. And to do that in a way that isn't just focused on, traditional illustration, but on things like dice, character sheets, maps, all the things that kind of make up the visual experience of D&D. I've always loved the game. I've loved the history. I think it's obviously played a huge part in my life. The game was one of the most exciting discoveries of my life, and I relish the opportunity to be able to try to piece together the story and to show how significant its impact on our culture has been.
These little illustrations that have long since been forgotten have become the basis for the hyper-iconic, super famous illustrations.
So I think those early images are so important and foundational, and they've gone through so many incarnations, but they still always take these key elements and these little spirit of each creature. And we do a sequence, a segment of the book called Evolutions, or the Many Faces of, and we look at the way a beholder will evolve through all the different editions, or the way the Roper evolved, or Owlbear, or a Sararak. If you've played it, it's cool, and if you're only familiar with 5th edition, you can kind of trace it back to its origins, or Strahd, like where did he come from, and how did he look in 3rd edition, and what did he look like in 4th, and so it's really exciting. And the deeper we dove is like you're learning as you're writing the book, at least for me, because I remember a lot of this stuff, but I was young, so I don't remember exactly who wrote which thing, or who the creator, who the artist was on it. So you're putting faces with names, and obviously there's the iconic guys, but some of the lesser known guys. So it was a real labor of love. I mean, we just took a couple years to really put this thing together and track down all the art that we wanted to see in its native form.
So the book comes out in October 23rd. It's about 450 pages, so it's pretty hefty. There are 700 different unique illustrations inside of it. It'll come in a couple forms, so there's a standard edition and then a collector's edition, a special edition, which has a nice clamshell with a cover done by Hydro 74, so it'll look like a D&D special edition book. And inside there's all kinds of little treats for people that are the super fans of D&D.
Thank you to everyone who created art in Arcana. It is an amazing book, and also thank you for taking time to do all of those interviews. I'm Todd Kenreck. Thank you for watching.